nature are not really good news for Iran, and for those who believe that Iran is getting secular. There is also the worsening economic situation and the difficulties for families to survive the hardship. So, in other words, when you have 2-3 employments during the day, you try to do as much as you can for your family. I'm not quite sure at the end of your activities you have much time really talking about secularism, trying to push that purpose. Is limited really today to small disillusioned intellectuals whose movements are under government's control. Even the government intervene when you organize a gathering in your own house. So it shows the difficulty of the task for those people who want really to spread their ideas. Short of a very unlikely, I finished quickly, thank you. Short of a very unlikely quick change, it would take another generation, in my view, to see a hopeful movement towards a more secular regime in Iran. Turkey provides an interesting case study. 80 years after the imposed secular regime, an Islamic government and an Islamic president rule over the country now. It's very interesting. I recognize the specificity, obviously, of each case, each society, but the Turkish example, by using the Turkish example, I wanted just to emphasize the importance of time for the process to reach its maturity. Many years of education and learning are needed for the nation to find its own way. I don't believe really in imposition of democracy and other values of that nature from outside. The failure of imported models by different regimes in the Middle East prove futile, repeating failed experiences. So in the case of Iran, I think they should not really take that path. It took France a few centuries to reach the level of political development they enjoy now, and even that country today is confronted to the same problem that many other countries in the Middle East, including the Iranians, are confronted, the relationship between religion and politics. I'll stop it here, and I don't know the format, whether the next presenter is going to do it, or we take questions or whatever.
I think we'll take a few questions first, and then we're going to have a short introduction before we move on to the
you mentioned the problem of democracy in Iran. You mentioned it because we have a guardian council, and this guardian council could throw the candidate. So that's the problem regarding democracy we have now. I don't think, are you really think that that's the problem of democracy in Iran, that because there is a guardian council which filters the candidate, when we're talking about the country, that we don't have any free political parties, when we're talking about the country, that people, they have been executed for expressing their feelings. Yeah. How we can talk about the democracy in that country? Even because when we send them, because of the guardian council, that's the problem with democracy. Imagine we don't have guardian council. You think that's a democracy that people, they cannot be candidates because they don't have the...
No, I didn't want really to limit everything to the Guardian Council. When I presented the structure, I mentioned the problem with the structure. The problem is that when you put the God at the helm, it's extremely difficult really to challenge God. And this is the situation in Iran. In other words, in Iran, if today you express yourself, you mentioned the absence of political parties, all kind of rights and so forth, you are right. If you do that, then you are accused of undermining the Islamic Republic, undermining the rule of God. And I'm not sure whether you can really live with that situation. So I didn't really limit everything to the Guardian Council, but the Guardian Council is the agent, if you wish, of doing what we are talking about, candidates and others. In terms of political parties, not that in Iran there is no political parties, there are many of them. But, yeah, I get it. But it doesn't mean really that those are the political parties that you are looking for, I'm looking for, others are looking for. Those are the political parties created by the Iranians, to be fair to them, by the Iranians, for themselves obviously, and based on their interpretation of what the Iranian society should be or should go, where should go, and so forth. So in other words, today the debate or the conflict between the government of Ahmadinejad and others, Musharakat, all reformists or leftists or whatever exists in Iran, clandestine or open, the conflict between those groups, at least those who are legally active, let's say, is not really to get rid of the Islamic Republic, replace it by something else. It's how to, for those who believe in reform, for them, it's how to live with this situation, how to improve this situation. For others who are not legal or accepted and they don't have the normal activities in Iran, obviously the whole regime is should leave, and that is not going to happen.
Because well, first of all, when we're talking, you said that so the problem is not the Guardian Council.
No,
the problem is because they're challenging God. So if that's the case, you'll have to say that in Iran we couldn't have democracy because we have a religious government. So why you're just limited yourself to Guardian Council and saying that because of the Guardian Council it's not possible to have democracy.
Yeah, I understood.
Yes, sorry.
No, that's okay. I mentioned that you can challenge God. You see, you didn't say that. So
you cannot challenge God in that country, because if you challenge God,
I mean, I mentioned that. So it means that when I talk about the structure of power, I don't really limit everything to the Guardian Council. There are too many things. There are other things really, Basijis and many other things.
If that's the case, why you're going around? If that's the case, instead of saying that in that country, because we have a religious government and because we have a Sharia law, because of the Sharia law is ruling the government, we shouldn't have democracy in that country. Because democracy and the religion, we cannot combine with each other. So
this is your interpretation, your understanding. No, let's say, this is why when I started, I said I tried to look at the situation from an academic perspective, meaning that I look at the thing as it is, not as how I want it to be. It's easy if we are talking to each other privately, not presenting something related really to the issue that I have to talk about. We can talk about other things. And finally, I said that you cannot challenge God. So it means that for me, it's extremely difficult really. I don't say it's impossible. You say it's impossible, that's your right to say it. I don't believe that it's impossible to be a Muslim or to have a society, a Muslim society, and have a kind of democracy. You could do that.